Hey, my name is Dale. You don't know me, but you might know my daughter Sydney. She does Sydney's Reviews. You may have heard of her. So she's got me out here today in the corner garden, and we're going to talk about one of our plants out here. There's several things we have. We've got daylilies that you can take a look at. We've got some black-eyed Susans that'll be blooming soon. We've got some daisies, zinnia, some spider plants, a little bit of phlox there close to Sydney. She's holding the camera for us today. We got all kinds of things here in the corner garden, but I want to welcome you to our first episode, and we're going to talk about something that's more of an accent plant than anything. And it's amazing how many folks don't know what this is. You see them from time to time. This is the poker plant, or the red hot poker, or the torch lily, or maybe the more scientifically correct name might be Kniphofia. I don't use that one, I'm not that smart. We're just going to call this the poker plant. And you can see that it really makes a name for itself just by the way it looks. It stands out. We've got it close to some lilies. We got it in front of some decorative grass here behind it. I think it would look better. It's kind of here by itself. It's starting to grow and expand a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to divide it here in just a minute. But I think if we could get some clumps of this started, we'd have a lot better looking plant here. So we've actually got two of these plants that I planted at the same time about 3 years ago. The one on my right and your left, as you can see, is blooming and looks really healthy. We've got one that's been blooming for, I don't know, about a week or so here. And you can see that it's still nice and full at the top. A little rough looking towards the bottom, so it's starting to fade out. Probably a week or two, we'll go ahead and trim this one off, and that will encourage some future blooms. You can see we've got a couple about ready to explode here already. You can see some old stalks that I've trimmed back. And if Sydney got a little bit closer, you see one like this. This is about a week. This is about a week behind these other blooms here. So this is a really healthy looking plant. We'll talk about how to divide that here in just a second. But on my left and your right, this plant was put in the ground about the same time as the one to my right, about 3 years ago. And we've yet to get the first bloom out of this one. So I suspect that we may have, the root system really comes from a set of rhizomes below the ground. We can see that if it was the right time of year. This is June 11th, not exactly the right time to be dividing these. So we won't do any cutting today, but you can look a little closer inside this plant. You see if it was time to divide, you can really see the kind of the natural divisions. We've got a full plant here that we could divide off. You want to leave a good core here so that the mother plant, so to speak, has something to build upon. But we've got several new plants developing. We may have this one a little too deep in the ground because we're just not getting any bloom development. But again, this one's really healthy. And you can see over the course of about 3 years, if we got into this one, we can see that there's some places to pull some divisions off of that as well. So, a showy plant that works well by itself, but I think it would work a lot better if it had several other specimens planted real close to it. So unlike some of the other plants here in the corner garden, there's not a lot of aroma from this particular plant. The poker is really just a visual, in my opinion. It's got the lance-like leaves, and in our growing zone, I think we're in like 7A or 7B. This thing stays green most of the year round, so we don't have to, I haven't cut this back in the 3 years that it's been here. Some places you do tend to cut them back as they overwinter. You can use the foliage to clump it up because you don't want the thing, if it gets too wet in the off season in the winter, it can rot. You can see some issue from that, but this one has just been essentially maintenance free for me here in 7B since we planted it. Not a lot of aroma, as I was saying earlier, from this plant, but if you like hummingbirds, if you like butterflies, this is a good specimen to have on hand. They're very attractive to birds in some cases, as I said, hummingbirds and butterflies, and of course the bees like them as well. So that's about it for the poker plant here in the corner garden. We appreciate you joining us for today's episode, and look for our next visit to the corner garden, where we may talk a little bit more about some of the other plants here, maybe the daylily or the spider plants or the zinnias, just whatever we run into, all kinds of things here in the corner garden. Have a great day.